Hello YouTube, it's Night here with Hobby the Man once again, and today we are doing another check-in video. Today we are going to go over all I've been reading in terms of manga, comic books, and novels, and we'll also talk about the channel, but I'm not really sure. I don't really plan out these videos beforehand. I just kind of talk about whatever I feel like at the time. So yeah, let's start with the channel, I guess. So I did launch a new video series. I'm calling it Comic by the Issue or Comics by the Issue. I don't know. It's a working title. I don't really know if it really matters, if it has a title, but that's one that I'm looking more of as a series. A season of the series would consist of me going over all of the books in a specific comic book run. Right now I'm looking at Dark Ages, which is this short Tom Taylor run. It's supposed to only be 6 issues long, so it should only be 6 videos long, but it is something that is going to take a long while because comic books come out once every month, right? But I did just launch it. I do hope you guys check it out. It's actually a really good comic book series, and the style of the video is more or less the same as Kaiju number 8, so if you guys like my Kaiju number 8 videos, you'll probably like the Dark Ages one, and especially because Dark Ages is a type of series that kind of like looks at a lot of characters that we, not comic book kind of people know because of movies, right? We have Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers, like most of those characters are relevant to us because we know them from the movies, and so I'm guessing that's why they picked them as the characters to use for that story. But it's basically a kind of like steampunk, post-apocalyptic, what happens if the world can no longer use electricity, what happens to superheroes in that occurrence, right? It's kind of like a thing. Tom Taylor makes a lot of apocalyptic type series or post-apocalyptic type series, and I decided to look into it because I didn't want to have more comic book content on the channel, since that seems to be a big hobby for me now. And because it's basically the same as manga, just like made by other creators. Manga content will also start getting bigger on the channel. I just haven't been able to read any manga lately, but I do want to get Breaker, and I do want to get some other stuff that is published by Ablaze, which isn't really manhwa, but it's kind of like manga adjacent or manga adjacent, like Trece, I think, Trece, which is the Filipino comic book series that Ablaze has. They made a Netflix show about it. I do want to get that. And yeah, that's kind of like the update section of the video. Those are the two things. My video schedule for the next month should be the same as it usually is. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm so busy with school that I can't read enough to maintain 4 videos a week, especially now that I'm making videos that can be shorter or longer. So I mean, that should be fine. We really shouldn't have any issues with the content on the channel, but if that changes, I'll let you guys know at some point in the future. Also, kind of announcing it now, I guess, although no one really cares, is that October should be a monster/horror month. I have a few vampire manga that I want to read, and my roommate, the one that let me borrow Watchmen, also is letting me borrow his Junji Ito collection, so I should be able to get some Junji Ito on the channel, read some kind of horror manga, and then read some monster girl manga specifically, but general kind of horror manga. And I should be also reading some supernatural urban fantasy type of stuff in October. That's kind of the goal for that. In terms of like the rest of the time on the channel, I'm not really sure. I don't really think I'm gonna have a theme for November. I just kind of want to relax that month. Maybe something around food manga, since November in the US is very kind of associated with feasts due to Thanksgiving. So maybe we'll do something food related in November, but I'm not really sure. December, I don't really know what's going on in December because I should have videos up the first 2 weeks of December. But then if I go visit my family in Mexico, I'm not really sure when the situation will change or what we're going to do in that sense when that time comes around. I probably won't have videos out for the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January. Or if I do, it's gonna be like top tens, top fives of the year and stuff like that. Just kind of like recap videos, videos that kind of encompass everything so far about the year. So I don't know. That's kind of the tentative plan for that. That's kind of it for my update section of the video. If you guys watch that section, I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. But let's move on to other things. I haven't really been watching anything in terms of anime, manga, and stuff like that, or not manga, anime or movies or anything like that. I really wanted to do something with Eden Zero, but every time I managed to get the motivation to do so, it went away or something else came about that kind of made me lose the motivation to do it, and then the time just kind of went away from me. Like, I was gonna do a Eden Zero lore video type of thing early on, and then I was gonna do some more Eden Zero reviews. I didn't do that either. And then I was going to do a review of Eden Zero, the anime. But at this point, I feel like everyone that was going to watch the anime has already watched it. So what's really the point in doing a video for it? However, I do videos for things that everyone has already read a lot of times. So that's really not a good one, like not a good excuse to not do it. So maybe I will come back and do it sometime soon. I really just haven't had time to watch anime or to watch movies or anything like that. I did watch the movie Shang-Chi, which was top tier. Shang-Chi was actually really good. It was like epic fantasy, hidden world fantasy, cultivation fantasy, and it was also a martial arts movie all wrapped into one. It was pretty cool. Shang-Chi is an interesting character that I had no idea about before, they made a movie for him. So the movie was really good. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really nice. And I don't think I'll do a review for it. That's not really like exactly correlated to the channel just yet, but I might, talk about it at some point, somewhere, somehow. But yeah, Shang-Chi was pretty good. So if anyone wants a movie review, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, Shang-Chi, top tier. I recommend everyone goes and watches the movie because it is really good. And I don't know, it was like interesting because a lot of people thought it was gonna flop, which I don't understand why. Like at this point, everyone knows to go watch Marvel movies regardless of anything, right? No one really says, no, I'm not gonna go watch a Marvel movie. So I don't really know why they would assume that it was gonna flop. I mean, besides the pandemic, but most people don't give a shit about the pandemic anymore, even though it's like still a big problem. So I don't know. I didn't really understand why people thought it was going to flop, but it's not flopping, at least not in the US. I think China isn't putting it in their theaters because Chinese politics is wacky. But it is, a good movie. So I definitely recommend everyone goes and watches it. But other than that, I don't know. I haven't really been watching anything besides baseball. I watch baseball a lot, but mostly because baseball is a good series, or not a good series, sorry, a good thing to watch because you don't have to pay attention the whole time. It's not so fast paced that you're glued to the screen, but it's also not so boring or so lacking in action that you can't pay attention to it. It's like the perfect middle ground of like sports. And because I really don't care about when the team I like is pitching, I just do work or read while they're pitching, and then when they're batting is when I pay attention to the TV. So baseball is a great kind of like thing to have in the background when you're trying to do other things, which is something that I've always needed. I always like having noise around. I think it's because when I was a little kid, my mom would always have TV on in the background. She would always watch telenovelas and stuff like that at night, and I was doing homework in the kitchen, so I was like always hearing things while I was working, and that just kind of turned into like a thing that I like doing. But I don't know, baseball is quite good. I like the Astros. I follow the Astros. I know people don't like them, but I don't care. The Astros are top tier. I really like a lot of them, and yeah, the Astros are doing great, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, that's it for what I've been watching. Now let's get to the good, important bit, the stuff I've been reading. So, I've actually been pretty good about my reading this month. I thought I was gonna be having a difficult time getting it, but it's not been that difficult. So that's really good. But yeah, let's start with the comic books that I've been reading. So, I've been buying these every week as they come out, kind of, more or less, except for a few of them. So, I've been reading Moon Knight, issue 1. This was a reprinting. I picked it up like 2 weeks ago, I think. I need to pick up volume 2 or issue 2. I don't know if they've reprinted it yet, but issue 3 comes up pretty soon, so I want to see if I can find issue 2 beforehand. Moon Knight is kind of interesting. It's basically like Marvel's version of Batman, but his origins is more similar to something like Rick Riordan would come up with, which is kind of funny. It's like this dude gets, there was a military guy, gets lost in Egypt. He kind of dies and gets resurrected by this Egyptian god that tells him he is now his priest, and he must, protect the people that wander at night, which is like his domain or something. And basically, Moon Knight now battles the forces of the darkness, which is like werewolves, vampires, zombies, all these types of like occult, nocturnal kind of creatures. It's pretty interesting. I like the art in it. It's pretty good. And I like the story so far. I don't really know too much about Moon Knight. I just picked it up because I really liked that cover. I thought it was really nice. So yeah, that's it for Moon Knight. I picked up Dark Ages. I already talked about this, but you guys can watch the video for Dark Ages right there if you want. Really good story, really interesting. Tom Taylor is really cool. I do want to pick up more of his stuff because this post-apocalyptic superhero type of stuff is surprisingly very, very interesting. I think the other one that is like really big from him is Deceased, which is like what's it called, the DC equivalent of like DC versus Zombies, which is something that Marvel did first. I think Marvel versus Zombies is a thing. I'm not too sure. Then Red Sonja. I finally picked up something about Red Sonja. Red Sonja has always been a character I'm interested in. I had never been a character that I've read until now. This is essentially Mirka Andolfo taking this kind of tradition of the lone wolf and cub type of story and turning it into Red Sonja, lone mama, and her, kiddo. So that's kind of what it is. Pretty interesting. I like the artwork in this. The story isn't really complex just yet. It's kind of just setting them up, kind of getting to the point why Red Sonja has to find this kid and why this kid is important, and them kind of traveling a little bit. It's pretty good. I like it. It's very interesting. Mirka Andolfo is a author that I quite like. I just found her out when I started reading comic books, but I do really enjoy her stuff. I do want to buy more of her stuff. But yeah, Red Sonja issue 1 is pretty good. There's a few other series of Red Sonja that are coming out concurrently. That's the thing about Red Sonja and other characters like her, like Conan the Barbarian and stuff, is that they're so old and so widely known that you can just like make 100 different series about them and no one's gonna really have any issues with it, because it's like Robin Hood, right? Everyone has a different story of Robin Hood, so it's no big deal, right? It's not like comic books and stuff. But yeah, there you go. This is Red Sonja. Then Transformers King Grimlock. This is issue 2. I already showed you guys issue 1 a while ago, and I don't know, man, this is good. I like Transformers. My roommates were actually really surprised, and I was actually really surprised at the sheer amount of Transformers lore that I know. It's kind of ridiculous. I didn't really think that I was that big of a fan of them, but apparently I am. I know a lot about a lot of stuff of Transformers that most people would really not know. But this is basically Grimlock gets isekai'd into this fantasy world that has a Transformer with a golden dragon form, and now Grimlock is having to try to fight it. But because Grimlock doesn't really care and he hasn't been affected by the bad guy just yet, he doesn't really have any issues with him, so he's just kind of doing his own thing. And the humans are kind of sad that Grimlock isn't helping them. And we have this spunky young girl who kind of just talks to Grimlock, and she's like, no, I need your help, I need to be strong. And then Grimlock's like, I understand that, I'll help you. But then they have a bit of a falling out because Grimlock doesn't really care about people. He just cares about being strong, and he hasn't been challenged in a way that it bothers him yet, so he's just kind of doing his own thing. But the art here is really good. This is written by Steve Orlando, I think. I've seen some negative, things said about him. I'm not really sure how I feel about Steve Orlando's storytelling just yet. I don't really care about the individuals themselves, like authors. I don't care about their individual beliefs or anything like that. I'm just caring about how they write stories and if the stories that they write are interesting to me. So I don't really care about them as individuals, but in terms of their writing, I'm not really sure how I like Steve Orlando yet. I have to read a few other things that he has going out, but I don't know. I haven't really picked up on him just yet, besides King Grimlock, and so far I am liking this, so maybe I'll check out some more stuff by him. Then Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika. This is the same lady that did the Red Sonja one, and I love this. It's so interesting. It's so cool. It's basically like there's two different groups of people. There's like devil people and angel people, and they live in a mixed society. And it's not really about racism or anything like that. It's more about just like this devil girl that has very kind of strict and conservative morals instilled by her dad, and she's trying to get out of them and kind of develop into her own individual self, but she also kind of has problems because she doesn't really know how to do that. And it's kind of this rom-com thing between her and the angel guy there, whose name is Dill. And it's kind of interesting. I really like it. It kind of reminds me of Sweat and Soap, the manga, but it also kind of reminds me of just more general like novella, dramatic, melodramatic kind of storytelling that is very common in like Latin American and, like generally Latin people of all types, including the Europeans, which kind of totally makes sense because Mirka Andolfo is from Italy, and she even makes a kind of a joke about the book not being a Italian soap opera, but it has a lot of soap opera elements, and I really like it. It kind of makes me nostalgic for the TV shows I used to watch with my parents and my family when I was growing up. So Sweet Paprika is really good. It's also very raunchy, so if you don't like raunchiness, do not read that. Then I picked up Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads. This is by the same people that did the original Symbiote Spider-Man. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about them. I just picked this up because I like Black Cat and I like Black Suit Spider-Man, and that's basically all there is to it. This kind of takes the approach of like wacky, zany adventures with superhero characters as its kind of thing. And basically it's Black Cat and Spider-Man, and they're kind of trying to stop some bad guy, and then this bad guy ends up being in league with this evil Asgardian chick who is the queen of the Norns, which is kind of interesting. Norns, I think, are the witches in Norse mythology which define how life happens and the tapestry of life and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. It doesn't really play into her character at all, but it is kind of interesting lore-wise. And then Spider-Man gets sent into the multiverse, and Black Cat has to get, Doctor Strange's help. And essentially we just follow Spider-Man in these zany little adventures that he has in different places. The third one, the third issue of this is really what caught my attention, because we had Black Symbiote Spider-Man fighting a T-Rex, like a red T-Rex, which is kind of like the devil T-Rex that Moon Girl has, which is pretty interesting. I like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to picking up issue 3. But that's Symbiote Spider-Man so far. I've also been reading Watchmen, and this one is really tough to read, man. So the story itself is interesting. If you guys have watched the Watchmen TV show or the Watchmen movie, you know that Watchmen is an interesting series. The problem is, and this is laid out like some ancient crap, dude. It's just 9 squares over and over and over and over again. It's the most boring paneling ever in existence. It's so annoying to read. It's so boring to read because it's so many. Like literally every page is like a 3x3 panel set, and it's just boring. I really like modern comics and modern manga because the paneling is so dynamic, and it wasn't really something I ever paid attention to, but Watchmen has made me understand that paneling is hugely important, because it's so boring in this. And because the paneling is boring, I can't read like a full issue of this at a time. Like I have to read like half an issue and then put it down for an hour and then come back and finish the issue because it's so slow. It reads so atrociously because of the paneling. The story is good, but not so good that I can get over the fact that it's so boring to read and it sucks. But Watchmen is pretty good, I promise. It's just the paneling sucks. It would be kind of interesting if they took the Watchmen series and remade it without changing the story, just changed the paneling to kind of modernize it. But I don't know if that's really a possibility. I'm sure there's some legal issues with that because of the creators of it being, like big and important. So I'm not really sure, but it would be kind of interesting to see if they did that. We also read Radiant Black, which I did a review on already. Green Lantern Rebirth, which is like the first Jeff Johns Green Lantern series that I've read. But I do like Jeff Johns as a writer because he did the Aquaman run for the New 52. And that's some of the first comic books that I picked up that I actually cared about. So that's pretty cool. This was really good. It kind of takes all of the human Green Lanterns up to that point that this was written in and kind of makes them matter in a way that is important and kind of brings back Hal Jordan, the big main Green Lantern of DC Comics, of like the history of the Green Lanterns, which is the one that Ryan Reynolds was in the movie, which was a shitty movie, but I watched it when I was like 10 years old and I liked it for what it was at the time, but I realized that it's a bad movie now. But this is really, really good. It has Parallax, it has Kilowog, it has Hal Jordan, it has everything that you probably saw in that movie, but it's actually done in a way that's actually good writing instead of like whatever that movie was. So this is a pretty good one. If you want to get into Green Lantern, this is the way to go. Like I'm pretty sure everyone on YouTube that does comic book content agrees that Green Lantern Rebirth is the way to go if you want to get into Green Lantern, and it is really good. I know everything that I need to know about Green Lantern before jumping into other Jeff Johns stuff, so can't disagree with him. This is a really good one. I do want to get more of it, but comic books are like significantly more expensive than manga for like the same amount of content, so it's not really that great. But yeah, so other than that, I was reading Ultraman volume 1. I get issue and volume in my head mixed up now, and it sucks because it's so difficult to kind of switch between the two terminologies. So there you go. Ultraman volume 1 was really good, a lot better than I was expecting, significantly better than I was expecting, and I actually want to pick up so much more of it as fast as I can. But I've been to like 3 different bookstores and I have not been able to find a single volume of Ultraman, which sucks. So I'm gonna have to order it online at some point, but I can't do that right now because I just spent money buying some Mexican manga because they had a sale to celebrate Mexican Independence Day. So I don't have money right now, which sucks. But speaking about Mexican manga, we have Origin Volume 1 and 2, which is what I just bought more of to take advantage of that sale that Panini Manga was having. This is written by Boichi, basically follows this robot that wants to gain sentience and live well like his father, his creator, told him to. But before he can do that, he also has to fight his robot brothers and sisters who also want to gain sentience, but in order to get stronger than humans, not because they want to live with humans. And so we get to see Origin and his brothers and sisters fighting it out, and it's very, very good, very interesting. This has a very interesting aesthetic. It's kind of like a Yakuza manga. It's kind of like a very sci-fi manga. It's kind of like a slice of life. It's very interesting. Boichi is a really good artist. He's not the best writer, but he's good enough that his art and his good enough writing really make for an interesting and dynamic story to read. So there you go. That's Origin. Then we have Yagan, which I just reviewed. Now, I think I was really low energy in my Yagan review, so I do apologize for that. But this story is very interesting. It's so depressing, but so engaging at the same time. It basically deals with this guy that is really depressed, that is done with life. He doesn't really have any happiness in it, even though by all standard measures of like success and happiness, he should be really happy. I mean, he has a gorgeous girlfriend, a good job, he maintains a good connection with the community and with his classmates, and he just has a good life. But he's depressed, he's bored of life, and he really literally just lives and continues to do his job because he's a policeman, and he wants to be able to shoot his gun one day, which is kind of wacky. But eventually he ends up infected by this frog thing, and a lot of other people in Japan and around the world get infected by this frog thing, which then turns them into these monsters based on their dreams and the things that they yearn for. And now he has to hunt them down because they're a threat to humanity, and he needs to be granted a wish, to fix a problem that occurred early in the manga. So it's kind of like Gantz, kind of like Chainsaw Man, kind of like its own thing. It's very, very interesting, very good. However, I was not really like into it until like the end of volume 2, which is, I don't know, maybe a normal thing, maybe it's not normal. Maybe I'm more critical of it for some reason, but I don't know. It's very good. The art is insane. It just looks really interesting. And the story is also interesting. It kind of delves into the idea of depression and how to deal with it in a very interesting way. I like it a lot. It's very well done. So there you go. That's Yagan. I'm almost done. I have a few more things that I've read, and then we're good to go. So next, I read Fist of the North Star, which is really, really good. I was actually surprised. I didn't think it was going to be that good. I read it during the sci-fi month because I thought that it was post-apocalyptic enough and scientific enough to matter. It's not really. It's mostly just about the dudes having their magical fights with their like chi systems or whatever. But it is really good, very interesting. It has all of the hallmarks of what would turn into JoJo without having all of the wackiness of JoJo, which is interesting. I might want to read JoJo's after reading this. JoJo is really not something that has been able to catch my attention, at least not the anime. I might speed read through the first part and the second part of the manga, but aesthetically they're very similar, and I really enjoyed this, so maybe I'll try JoJo's at some point. But Fist of the North Star, at this point I don't think anyone doesn't know what Fist of the North Star is, but it's a pretty good one. I definitely recommend it. I think you guys should check it out. So yeah, there you go. That's it for that one. I didn't really want to spend too much time on it. And then Gal Gohan, really good. I understand why Jacob from Wii Family really likes it. It has all of the elements of like happiness inducing stuff. Like there's a cute girl, there's a guy that wants to live well and kind of provide for other people, and in this case provide instruction and happiness for other people, and there's this cutesy romance between them. And the cutesy romance is definitely problematic because, or at least in Western standards, because it's between a student and a teacher, but it's just handled well. Like it doesn't ever become concerning because he's really not into the fact that, you know, our gal friend is so like uncaring about her like image, but he also like cares about her in a way that is more than just as a teacher. And she's really interested in him as more than a teacher because they have this really good moment at the beginning where he kind of just shows her that he cares about her as an individual and not just as like, I need you to pass because it's my job to make you pass kind of thing. And I really like it. It's very, very good. The art is really cute. The expressions that the characters use are really cute. Just everything about this is really cute and really satisfying and very just enjoyable. And I like it a lot. I think it's very, very good. So yeah, there you go. That's that. And then Star Blazers 21.99. I don't think I've done a review for this. I can't remember. But it's a good series. It's basically the retelling of Space Battleship Yamato, but with an updated bit of art and an updated story. And it kind of delves into developing the characters a lot more than the original manga did. And it's very good. It's very nicely done. I like it a lot. The mechanical design is insane. The amount of detail put into these starships is like top tier. Really, really excellent. I love it. There's like a bunch of pages where the mangakas just talk about how they develop the what's called the graphics, and the mechanical design of these ships, and it's so nice. I like it a lot. Very well done. Then we have volumes 1 and 2 of Atom, which are a retelling, reimagining, prequel story to what's it called? Astro Boy by Osamu Tezuka. This is written by some other dudes, but it's with the consent of Osamu Tezuka's son and with his help. And really good. We basically follow the original doctors from Astro Boy, Tenma and the other guy, the one with the big nose, as they're in university and they're working on developing this AI program called Bewusstsein, which is consciousness in German. And they're working on this, and they developed the A100 series. And this specific robot is A106, or Atom, right? And he is developing consciousness without them being aware of it, but also kind of not aware of it himself. And we get to see him interact with a lot of other robots that seem to also have consciousness of their own, because of this very shonen trope of them having a heart, of having things they care about for whatever reason. And it's very good. I really enjoy it. I also like that it focuses a lot on robot fights. So like one of the big things that happened in volume 1 is that they go to a robot fighting ring in order to test out A16 or A106's AI matrix, right? And along the way they realize that he's really good at fighting without damaging the other robots, and he becomes like a big character in this robot fighting ring, right? And then what happens is that he fights against another robot that has similar levels of AI, and they have an interaction that is kind of very human between them. And it's just so good. I really do enjoy it. I think this is a very good series, and I can't wait to get more of it. I probably won't get more of it anytime soon, but I do want to eventually collect a lot more of it. I think there's up to 16 volumes of it right now, and I'm really looking forward to getting all of them. So yeah, there you go. That's all I've been reading. That's my check-in for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know if a lot of people care about it, but I do think that it's an enjoyable kind of thing, and it's also fun to kind of just connect with other people and hear what everyone is doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Crap, I almost choked on my spit there, sorry. And yeah, I started a coffee, so if you guys are interested in supporting me, please do check it out. It's down in the description. But I mean, it's really not that big a deal if you guys don't want to. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and see you guys later.